to be launching a tasty pastry. It's a low-carb Pop-Tart. It's got 3 to 4 grams of net carbs, and we love this show. This is our best place to be in LA.
Welcome back to Legendary Foods Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today is Friday, July 29th, 2022. And let's find out what's going on in the world of bodybuilding and fitness. Right now, as we speak, we're less than 2 weeks away from kicking things off at the Tampa Pro. And in case you haven't heard, the open lineup just got a whole lot more interesting now that we're going to see former Olympia champ Kamal Elgargni take the stage this weekend. If you've been watching the show or following Kamal's updates, it's no secret that he's been in great shape for the better part of the last few months, which led to speculation that he was possibly going to compete at some point before the Olympia. But then earlier this week, Kamal's camp dropped the bomb when the news broke that he was planning to hit the stage in Tampa in the open this weekend, where he'll obviously come in as one of the favorites to take away the win. A 100% Kamal Elgargni is one of the most complete bodybuilders on the planet. And when he touches down on that stage in 2 weeks, everyone else better be ready, because you know that he'll be ready to take on all comers. Speaking of people who look like they're ready to take on all comers, how about these updates that we are seeing from Hadi Choopan? To say that the People's Champ is firing on all cylinders right now feels like an understatement of the century, because you can already make a solid argument for this being the best version of Hadi that we've seen this far out from competition. He went on the record a handful of times after last year's Olympia saying that he had every intention of ending the 2022 season as the newly crowned champion. And at least for the moment, it looks like he's doing everything in his power to make good on that promise. We know that he added some quality size over the last 6 months and that he never misses when it comes to his conditioning. So you have to figure that if this is his starting point, which means that he's only going to keep ramping it up from here, then when it comes time for him to roll out whatever the next version of his physique is, that he's going to come out firing. And if there are any, and I mean any, chinks in anyone's armor, they're going to get exploited, which will open up the door for him to do what he says he was going to do and seal the deal. You know how we've talked about there not necessarily being anyone in this year's rookie class who came on and made a big splash in the open so far this year? Well, that might all be about to change here real soon, because Michael Krizo looks like he's about to make some serious waves in the Pro League. For those of you who don't know who he is or where the heck this guy even came from, Michael's been competing as an IFBB Elite Pro for the better part of the last decade, and recently he and his team decided it was time for him to make the switch to the IFBB, where he'll have an opportunity to win his pro card and potentially even be competing on an Olympia stage as early as this year. Now, to be fair, up to this point in his career, he hasn't competed at this level of bodybuilding, but it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that this guy's got what it takes to hold his own against the other elite athletes in the business. So if things go as expected and he earns his pro card in the IFBB Pro League at some point within the next few months, I would say that there's a very high probability that we see him on a Pro League stage before the end of the season. And at that point, all bets are off, because if he's really as good as advertised, it might be on the verge of becoming the most intriguing story of the season. And before we sign off for the week, we have another brand new update from Hunter Labrada coming your way. According to the latest reports from Hunter's camp, right now his weight is floating somewhere in the 280 range, which is slightly down from where it's expected to be because he's still in the process of getting himself back to 100% after a recent bout with food poisoning that put him on the sidelines for a few days. There's also a rumor floating out there that we might see Hunter hit the guest posing circuit again at some point within the next few weeks, which only seems like it's interesting here because you have a handful of other top 5 contenders who've already announced that they won't be doing anything on a bodybuilding stage until it's time for the Olympia. But with that being said, Hunter's track record over the last few years has been pretty much flawless. So if this is part of the plan, it's probably a safe bet to say that he's going to roll into Vegas locked, loaded, and ready to go. And that does it for yet another edition of Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, reminding you to always be true to your passions. And make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.